Hello, and welcome to the Run.Down. I'm your host, Winnie Pooh. I'm not sure how long we're going to go here tonight. It's late. The Knicks lost a really frustrating game to the Lakers, and Jalen Brunson rolled his ankle pretty bad. We'll have to wait and see how bad it is, how long he's out for. But yeah, all right. We'll talk about that. Knicks lose 113-109 in overtime. So yeah, we have a sponsor, Bet Online. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source for every three-pointer to hat trick. BetOnline is you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. I look. I don't know what people think of this team, in the sense that I already have people bitching about Mikal Bridges. I'm sure we'll get people bitching about Josh Hart can't shoot the three. Deuce McBride didn't make shots. Cat didn't make shots. Whatever. I would venture to guess 95% of those people will also tell you Tibbs deserves to be fired. And when you watch the end game offense tonight, I don't want to hear about other players when they're not involved. They're uninvolved offensively. Like they're not touching the ball. There's nothing happening off ball. They're not using Cat at all. Like, not at all. He gets used when Brunson is off the floor. Then he gets post-up touches. Not good post-up touches. He got one today. I think there's 5 seconds left. It was in the fourth quarter. He got 5 seconds left on the shot clock. He got it basically a foot inside the three-point line over on the right wing. That was his one post-up possession. It was awesome. He turned it over. He traveled. It's great. I loved it. I have no interest in talking about the players on this team and what they're not doing and what they are doing and who's doing what and who's bad at this thing and who's bad at that thing. Not on a night like tonight, because a night like tonight just shows you the difference in, like, you are allowed to be creative at the end of games. You are allowed to do crazy things like, hey, there's 9 seconds left on the shot clock or the game clock. Sorry, 9.1 seconds of the game clock. We have a chance to, all of our sins can be washed away. We blew this lead, but all of our sins can be washed away. Let's get a quality possession. Let's get a good shot. And we come out, obviously, with our starters. Josh Hart, who they were liberally helping off of now for 2 full games we played the Lakers. They've basically just been happy to help off him constantly. And I want to be clear, I think Josh Hart played well tonight. I thought Josh Hart competed really hard defensively. Was everything perfect? No, but you can live with exactly what he gave you tonight defensively. I thought offensively he did what you can reasonably expect Josh Hart to do. That, like, he gave you everything he could possibly give you tonight. I got no qualms with what Josh Hart did tonight. So nothing I say is a criticism of Josh Hart here. But they're not helping. They're helping off him liberally the entire game. And I know Deuce McBride didn't make a shot the whole night. Campaign was ice cold. Shamit. I mean, look, I actually feel bad for Shamit. The guy played 1 minute in the second half. I don't know why. I don't know why he only played 5 minutes the first half. He played well. I don't know. I don't know what he has to do to ever, like, actually get a second half run. But apparently he hasn't done that yet for whatever reason. I don't know. Josh Hart's on the floor. They help off him. They trap Brunson. If you watch that playback, I would love to know if this was play design. I'm assuming it was, but I don't know. If you watch that playback, as Brunson's getting trapped, Mikal Bridges is flashing to the free throw line from the corner wing to the free throw line. He flashes the free throw line. So Brunson, and I think LeBron was right there behind him. Brunson has the ball. He doesn't want to give it to Bridges there, where, LeBron's right around you, and obviously you're in the middle of the paint with your back to the basket, nothing going on. So he throws it to Hart. Luka has an easy closeout, right? It's an easy closeout. I couldn't tell you what Cat and OG were doing. I'm assuming they were spaced on the opposite on the left side. I'm not sure. I'm assuming. Could be completely wrong there. I thought it looked like to me as I remember it. And Hart gets the ball. Luka is able to close it. I know that people will be like, he should have shot anyway. Yeah, he should have shot it anyway. But it wasn't going to be a good shot. So not only did you didn't even get the open shot for Hart out of this play. Because at bare minimum, you're thinking, all right, if they're going to leave Hart, we're going to get an open shot here. But you didn't even get that. And the play design, again, like, I don't know why Mikal Bridges is cutting to the free throw line. Was that what the play called for? Or was that him seeing Brunson was trapped and in trouble and trying to make himself an option? I don't know. I do not know. I can't answer that question. But that's what happened. And because Mikal Bridges, if Mikal's in the corner, maybe Josh can just swing it to him, get a shot. Or maybe then, Luka kind of gives Josh Hart the shot and cuts off the angle to Mikal Bridges. Again, I don't know why any of these things happen, but they happen. That was the last play of regulation. A fucking disaster. And honestly, the entire fourth quarter, as far as I'm concerned, was a disaster. He, again, in the second half, did not really mix and match like he did in the first half, which was really good. And this is what makes it frustrating. The first half, I think he coached a really good game. I thought they were doing, and to credit Tibbs overall, the defensive coverages and their focus and kind of what they were willing to live with and not live with were probably the right things. They were pretty good. On defense today, I got to say that. I thought they were really good. I thought they competed really hard, and they did a lot more switching. They mixed up their pick and roll coverages. Was everything perfect and clean? No, but they competed really hard, and they didn't just play drop the whole time, right? So credit to him for that. First half, you see all these, you get a bunch of bench units. He goes double big at one point, which worked great. It was perfect. Ton of credit. He used it at the perfect time too. He brought the double bigs out when they had Vanderbilt on the floor, who can't shoot. It was perfect. It was the perfect time to bring that out. And the Knicks, I don't know what they outscored them in those minutes, but it felt pretty big. Felt like that might be the difference in the game, the way it was trending. But that fourth quarter is exactly what, it's not even what his critics say. It is what it is. The offense at the end of these games is literally just Jalen Brunson save me basketball. That's it. Jalen Brunson, we'll try to get a mismatch that we like, or Jalen will draw to the ball and he'll make the right decisions. But it's an absurd load he's carrying. And for all the people that I know before the season was like, oh, Brunson, he's going to have all this immaculate spacing. His number's going to go crazy. And, trying to kind of explain what was about to happen away. I challenge you to watch some of the end of these Knicks games and tell me that Jalen Brunson's playing in a perfect environment and in a great ecosystem and, wonderful things that everything is so easy for him. We don't even play 5 out. We're the only team that could trade for Karl-Anthony Towns and not play 5 out with Jalen Brunson on the floor, because 95% of the fucking time he's out there with Josh Hart. Again, not Josh Hart's fault. Not a criticism of Josh Hart. This is the reality of what Josh Hart is. 95% of the time he's out on the floor with Josh Hart, and teams are just not defending Josh Hart. So we don't even get 5 out spacing for Jalen Brunson, even though we have Karl-Anthony Towns. It's a real thing. This is a real thing that has been going on all season. So he doesn't get 5 out spacing. Campaign gets 5 out spacing. He gets, or more often gets 5 out spacing, at least, than Brunson. But Brunson doesn't get it. And then I got to say, look, the injury in overtime to Brunson, and I'm sure there are going to be people that blame Tibbs for the game going to overtime and then Brunson gets hurt in overtime. And, I'm not going to tell you how you should feel about that. And I understand that point of view. I'm not going to go there. I just think that's a little bit too much, but I do understand it. But I'll tell you what really pissed me off in overtime. Lakers have free throws. 107 up. Okay. He brings Mitchell Robinson into the game for defensive rebounding purposes. Then he has to burn his last time out right there. That was a real thing that happened. So he burned his last time out with about a minute left in the game in overtime. For what? To have Mitchell Robinson on the floor in the event that LeBron James missed the free throw. That was it. You have Karl-Anthony Towns there. You have OG Anunoby. You have Josh Hart. That's enough, bro. That's enough. You can expect these guys to rebound. You don't need to go get your fucking binky out in the form of Mitchell Robinson, who owns the defensive glass, just for that purpose. I don't get it. I don't get that. And then you have to burn the time out there. So let's say the Knicks even fucking score there. Let's say they score there. And by the way, the play you drew up was a real doozy. The play drew up was amazing. It was not Jalen. It was Deuce McBride subbing in for Jalen Brunson and running a pick and roll with Cat, which of course the Lakers just switched. Couldn't get Cat the ball. Deuce has to take a bailout ISO midi pull-up, which wasn't close. That was basically the ball game, more or less. But that was like that's the play he drew up out of this timeout that he burned with a minute left because he needed to get Mitchell Robinson on the floor. Yeah, the Lakers make free throws. OG misses one after a ridiculous possession where he ends up with a layup with 10 seconds left. Either way, it doesn't matter. Game's over. I don't know. I don't get any of that. I don't. The entirety of the fourth quarter and overtime is that's just, again, people, his critics say that it's not his critics saying it. It's reality. It is reality that he is doing these things. Go watch the Memphis. This is I'm not making this up. And I know people in here, I'm sure, agree with me, but you can literally go because the Knicks have played 7,000 clutch games, right? Okay, just go look if you want. Just go look at the last 6 minutes of these games. So you can go look at even before the All-Star break, right? So you go look at the Hawks game. Go look at the Bulls game right out of All-Star break. Go look at the Memphis game last Friday. Go look at the Miami game on Sunday. Go even look at the fucking Warriors game that they blew at the end. Look at tonight. Look at these end game possessions. I mean, the Atlanta game, I said it at the time. I did the post game, I think, for that. And I think that might be the last post game I did. And I mean, I said it look, the Knicks didn't run good offense, but sometimes you don't need to run good offense because your players are just so talented that you can get away with it. And it didn't matter that Dyson Daniels, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, was able to stick with Brunson, and he was basically they were basically playing a one-on-one with the other fucking 8 guys on the floor, watching them duel for the last, whatever, fucking 5 minutes and overtime and whatever the hell it was of that game. And he is hitting ridiculous shot for ridiculous shot. I mean, even today, he bailed them out again. They're down 99-96 at the end of the fourth quarter. They blow this lead. He makes a ridiculous shot, stepping through, getting fouled, taking the contact, banking it in. He is a ridiculous shot maker, basketball player. He is an all-star. He is a all-NBA stud. There's no question about what Jalen Brunson's doing. But I have a lot of questions about how Tom Thibodeau is using anybody else on this team other than Jalen Brunson. I don't get it. I don't get it. And look, does Mikal Bridges need to go get the ball and be more aggressive and blah, blah, blah? Sure. Yeah, that's fine. You want to sit here and complain about that? That's fine. What I would wonder is, why is there no plan? Why is there no plan to get him involved? Why is there no plan to do anything with Karl-Anthony Towns other than throw him the ball in the post sometimes? I mean, what else did they do with him today? Did they do anything with this guy today other than throwing the ball in the post sometimes? And he's taking threes. I mean, I was happy to see him take more threes than usual. A couple of them were questionable shot selection. A couple step backs he got out of the corner, but I don't know. I don't see much intentionality of what what are we doing with all of these pieces? How are they all fitting together? How are they layering together? How are we building off of each other? I don't know. It doesn't look like we are. And that's pretty fucking frustrating for me because I get when everybody's like, oh, I can't believe we gave up 5 first-round picks for Mikal. I can't believe, we're not getting enough, these guys aren't getting enough threes up. I can't believe Josh Hart's not shooting threes. I can't believe our bench is so thin and blah, blah. I get all that. But I also 100%, I refuse to believe that what we are watching with this group of players is the best version of this group. And it is the best possible usage of what we have. I don't believe that. I don't. If you do and you disagree, that's fine. I have no qualms with that. That everybody has different opinions about basketball and the Knicks and whatever. But I just refuse to believe that this is the best we can ever expect from this group of players, and that every player on this roster is being used in the absolute best way. And the coach he just can't get anything more out of anybody. He can't get more than 6 shots out of Mikal Bridges on a night like tonight. I don't know. And look, I get all the Mikal soft and all that type of shit. He made a couple of like random big plays down the stretch of this game, right? Gets on the floor. I think he might have knocked it loose or tied up with somebody. I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been Luka or Jackson Hayes. I can't remember the play. He got a steal in the corner that was kind of crazy in transition, saves it to Brunson. I'm not trying to gas up his performance, but like I just don't. I'm over talking about him because I think everybody that's saying can't believe you gave up 5 first-round picks for this guy are 100% validated and correct to feel that way. And I don't feel like arguing about, well, I'd like to see him under a new coach, and I'm just going to hold off judgment until then for the most part because I refuse. Like I cannot believe a player. I just can't believe that there's no plan to use him. Like I don't think his usage is what it is just because he's soft and doesn't want the ball. And like I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I do not believe that. I think Tibbs doesn't know how to utilize him and is happy to just have him figure out how to play, like just play off of Brunson. That's pretty much the plan for everybody else on the team right now. That starting group especially. Just play off of Brunson. That's it. Figure it out. Play off Brunson. He'll draw 2. He'll get into the paint. He'll draw attention. You guys cut and space and move off of that, and that's what we'll do. And it can work. It can work quite well. But you're not going to beat these top end teams like that. Not consistently. Maybe not ever, apparently. You're not. So I don't know. I try really hard to not turn at these post games into like endless circular discussions about Tom Thibodeau and why he needs to be fired and whatever. But, to me, that game that we just watched, the end of that game, that fourth quarter, that overtime, the decisions he's making throughout that, I mean, most of the second half, as far as I'm concerned, he's matching Josh Hart's minutes with LeBron, which is, I think, why because Shamit came in when LeBron was checked out. Then LeBron checked back in, and immediately Josh Hart came in for him. And then because of that, Shamit could never get back in the game because I guess there was no other time. Like I don't know. So did he come back in the fourth quarter? I don't think so. Pretty sure he didn't. Start of the fourth quarter might have been a good time to get him in. I don't know. I thought there was some weird stuff in the first half that I didn't totally get, but didn't burn them. Like he had Shamit on Reeves and Deuce on Connect. That was odd. Again, didn't burn them, so whatever, but thought that was weird. Yeah, man, I don't know. I just don't think that the Knicks are getting a legitimate. I guess this is the best way I can sum it up. I would not overreact too much to how a lot of individual players look this season because I do not believe that Tibbs is doing them a service. I think the only guys you can really convince me that he is kind of, how do I put this? That he is scheming things up for are Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, but mostly just when he's with the bench. Other than that, it's a lot of, again, playing off of Brunson. The Josh Hart stuff, like, again, I thought he played a good game today, so I'm not going to kill him. This was not what we saw against Golden State. It's not some of his recent performances. This is a good game. He was fighting, he's competing, he's active. He gave you what he had. Made a couple threes. He made a huge 3 in the fourth quarter. But like, and I thought this was interesting on the broadcast. Not as interesting as Candace Parker just openly rooting for the Lakers the entire time and fucking Brian Anderson gushing about the trade every 5 seconds. But you heard JJ Redick between the third and fourth quarter talking to his team, and he's saying, I liked our defensive energy. Like the shots we're getting, shots are going to fall for us. Shots are going to fall for us. Shots are going to fall for us. And he did. He left in guys that are shooters. So shots had not been falling for them, but guys are generally pretty good shooters. And they got shots and they started hitting shots. They started hitting threes. the Knicks just, I don't know. Like, look, man, Josh Hart's awesome, and he hit 2 threes today, and that's more than Mikal Bridges and Deuce McBride and Campaign and Karl Anthony Towns can say. I think Cat only finished with 1 3. But like, play the percentages. Like, we know, just forget just this season. Historically, the Knicks have better shooters, like guys who are better shooters over their career than Josh Hart for his career. On that last possession, I don't know. Like, maybe you just put a 5-out lineup out there. Like, especially if the plan is we want Brunson to ISO, right? Like, this is my thing. If you want him to just ISO there, which personally I think is a reasonable option, right? That's probably the one time where not even the one time, but like, I don't have a problem with coaches putting the ball in their best player's hands down the stretch. I have a problem when there's nothing else going on off the ball and there's literally never any other plan. That's what I have a problem with. But in that position, you're down 9, final shot of the game, basically. Like, I think ISOing your best player is perfectly reasonable, maybe even optimal. So why not have your 5-out? Like, put a fucking 5-out lineup out there then, please, so that if they do cheat, it's easier to get a quality shot there. Like, I don't get it. I will never get it. I do not understand it. And it is what it is. Brunson's hurt. We'll have to see how long he's out for, but I thought it was a pretty abject coaching performance from Tibbs in the second half. And that's pretty frustrating because I thought the first half he did coach a really good game. Yeah. All right. Try to get some comments. Lakers Twitter claiming the refs are Knicks fans. I had to mute the broadcast. I don't know what they were watching. I'm not even going to get into the refs because whatever, but they certainly were not favoring the Knicks. I'll put it that way. HB Greg, when I said our end of game offense is horrific and will hurt us, I didn't mean literally. Yeah, I mean that sucks too. That was a in transition play. He kind of has to go for it there, and it was a good play. Clearly got fouled. He got fouled twice on that play. I can't believe the Lakers challenged that one. Luka fouled him at first, and then Reeves clearly fouled him again. So I'm not sure what they were challenging there. Maybe it was just, hey, let's just take a shot because it's a big possession. But sucks. He made the free throws, and then that's it. That's the last thing he did. Also, by the way, you send Mitch in to do the intentional foul. This guy's sitting there trying to foul Luka, doesn't even have a fucking ball, which was what LeBron was like fucking furious about when he finally got over there and fouled LeBron. Like, I don't know what's said to Mitchell Robinson in that position. Maybe nothing has to be said. Maybe it should be assumed, but like, I think it should be like, hey, foul the guy who has the ball, because that would have been an away from the play foul, so it's shot and possession, and it was a tie game at that point. Just, I don't get that. That was nuts to me. Andre Dreyer, looks like you're going to find someone again to go with Brunson who ain't a... I'm not sure what's going on here. HB Greg, why the fuck did we trade for Cat when since the beginning of the year he's been a non-option at the end of the game? I don't know. And you know what? If anybody wants to criticize Cat today, and I'm trying... look, guys, I appreciate all the comments and all you guys staying up to tune in, but I don't have the energy to do one of the longer post games that we sometimes do here. But I'm going to try to get as many comments as I can get to, but I'm trying really hard to stay away from some of the negative stuff because that game sucked. I said what I said to open this, and that's how I feel about the state of things and the state of the Knicks after this game. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know why they traded for Cat if this is what we're going to do with him. Couldn't tell you. Oh, sorry. This is the end of the comment. I don't know. Sorry. HB Greg. Yes, you're allowed to play offense. I'm assuming this is about Mikal Bridges. Yeah, you are allowed to play offense. He should maybe touch the ball sometimes more. There should be some actual plan of how to use him. I'm sorry, I don't buy that a guy who was like in the NBA Finals and scored in the NBA Finals. I don't know. I'll pull it up right now. What the hell did Mikal Bridges score in the NBA Finals? Let's see. Let's check it out, guys. Let's do the research here. Mikal Bridges in the NBA Finals. Whoops, wrong year. Gonna have to go to 2020, 2021 for that one. Here, let's do this. Here we go. Mikal Bridges, NBA Finals. 12 points a game, 42, 53 from the field. He only got 8 shot attempts. That made sense. That was his role at the time. Scored 27 in the second game. I don't know. I don't really know what to say about him. Again, I'm just gonna have to agree to disagree with a lot of the comments here. I'm gonna hold off judgment on him. I don't think this coach has any idea what he's doing with him. I think a different coach. I'm not saying he's gonna explode and become some. I never thought he's gonna become an all-star or some perennial all-star anyway. But I don't think he's gonna explode and become like 25 point per game scorer. But the recent stuff with him where he's just like not involved offensively at all. Yeah, I find that hard to believe. I don't know. I do think it's very possible that the trade weighs on him. Like I don't care what these guys say. They 100% see what the hell we're posting on Twitter and Instagram and, or as Tibbs would call it, fake-agram. They see that stuff. They feel it. He knows the criticism he's going to get and is getting and got from the moment that the trade was made. I 100% think he feels that pressure. And I do think that gets to him, or could be getting to him currently still. Obviously, the market is different. I'm sorry, playing at Villanova and Phoenix and Brooklyn is not playing for the New York Knicks. And he might be suffering from that for sure. But I don't think it helps his confidence that there's really nothing like we don't do anything for him. And I don't know. Like, I just have a hard time getting on the guy too much. Look, I mean, everybody else does it plenty, and I was not even in favor of the trade. So, whatever. I feel very strongly that him and Deuce would really, really benefit from a new and different coach. That's what I think. I'll you want to clip that from this post game, go for it. I think those guys pop under a different coach that has more of a plan offensively beyond kind of figure it out off of your main stars, which is generally how I would describe Tibbs' offensive philosophy. I have, like, when we had Julius and Brunson, yeah, the offense was different, but it still was effectively play off of these guys. Everybody else figure out how to play off of these guys. It's the same thing now, just personnel has changed. Kevin Pierre, why did they close out the fourth with Hart? He had absolutely no business closing this game. I just cannot anymore. I don't know. I thought I kind of get while he's in the game because I thought he played a good game. Deuce didn't make a shot. Campaign was pretty bad during his minutes, and he's not really an option they go with down the stretch. I don't know, but I do not have a problem with him playing in the fourth quarter as much as he did. Even, I would have maybe thrown in Shamet for a few minutes at the start of the fourth or whatever. But I don't have a problem being with him being in down the stretch of the game. I do have a problem with him being in on that very, very last possession. I don't get that. I'll never get it. I'm sure that there will be people that explain to me the wonderful reasons for why that's good, but I reject those reasons and I don't think they're good. Deuce, horrible away from the Garden. I don't know if that's true. He played really well against Memphis last week, right? Let's see. Let's see what Deuce is up to away from home this year. Maybe you're right. I don't have a strong feeling for this one. Not going to lie. Okay, let's see what it splits. Coming into today. This doesn't include today's game. Okay. At home, I'm not correct on this one, bud. Sorry. 40.9 from the field, 33.3% from the field at home. 53.2 true shooting. Away, 43.5 from the 43.5 overall from the field, 41.4% from home. 57.5 true shooting. Yeah, it's not it. He had a bad shooting game though today. I mean, there's no real ifs, ands, or buts about that. But in spite of that, I thought he gave him good minutes. I would have played him more in that fourth quarter, honestly. I would have played him more. I would have left him in for a little bit longer. I would have tried to get more shooting lineups in around Brunson in the middle of that fourth when the offense was really stalling out. Again, if you're going to do this ISO Brunson thing, like at least give the guy more minutes with better spacing. At least do that. I don't know. That's what I would do. But he didn't do it. Which, say la vie. Kevin Pierre was so happy for all 2 minutes we played 5 out in second quarter, only to never see it again. Hey, I agree. Ashmaster, I swear to God, if I see Josh Hart in the clutch overhelping a drive leads to a wide open shooter, I'm gonna. Yep. I'm trying to figure out what play this was. If this was the one where he helped on Luka and left Vincent open in the corner, I don't know how I feel about that. Like I would need to know what their game plan was. And he actually did have a couple of really great steals on Luka in those positions, or at least able to knock the ball away. Vincent hasn't been a great shooter this year. I get your point, and I do feel this way generally. But if I'm thinking of the play that is making you say this, I think this will. I don't know if I'm agree with it in that specific situation. And I thought the Knicks did a much better job of defending the 3-point line today in general, anyways. That connect three at the end of the three, absolutely brutal. They got the ball out of LeBron's hands, and Josh Hart had a really good contest on it. It just sucks. Like that's the kind of night it was, and the Knicks couldn't buy a fucking three in the second half, other than what did OG make a three, and I think did Brunson make 1 3? I think that was about it. I don't know. It was pretty brutal. Real lit on the rim type of experience for the Knicks tonight from three, and honestly, for a long time. At some point, you're just waiting for them to get hot again from three, but god damn, it's been a long time. Honda 184, Tibbs can't draw plays after timeouts. He's the worst. His plays are very rudimentary. I mean, the play after the timeout, actually, I cannot believe I forgot this. The play after the timeout, they had a play after the timeout in 99-96. That was where, so I don't know what the play design was, but Mikal comes off. He's trying to pass it back to OG, who's like kind of on the move at the top of the key. Luka steals it. OG and Mikal do a good job getting back, stopping anything at the rim. I think that might have been the play where Mikal ends up saving it in the corner, if I'm not mistaken. But that was a terrible play. That was right after a timeout, too. And it's like, all right. Yeah. I mean, his after timeout plays they've not been very good lately, from what I can tell, anecdotally. Maybe the numbers say different. I don't know. Nora, however long Jalen's absence is, hopefully not long, it's going to be all eyes on Tibbs to adjust to different offensive schemes. Should tell us a lot, question mark. It should. They've been actually okay this year in the games that Brunson has missed, right? I don't know. How many games has he missed? The only one I remember off the top of my head right now is a game against Utah. And they smoked Utah in that game. It means Utah, so whatever. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. The Clippers are a really good defensive team. I know they've been struggling a little bit lately, but it'll definitely be something to see. I'm interested to see if Mitch plays tomorrow, given that he probably pushed to exactly his minutes limit today. Interested to see if he plays tomorrow. The one, again, just because Mitch came up in my thought process here, the one really cool takeaway, though, from this game was how good that double big lineup did look, and looked like, at bare minimum, it's a legitimate option they have to go with. So, yeah. Kevin Perry, I feel like we forgot that Cat and Brunson can run pick and roll. This is, I would guess, I don't fully, again, I don't know what Tibbs' logic is. My guess is he's running less of it because Josh Hart is not being treated like a shooter, and so they're able to clog the paint there. So he's just going with Josh Hart as a screener now to bring in his guy to the action so that they can't just cram the paint. But now, teams are kind of sending Brunson away from the screen, rejecting, like weakening him, as they call it, trapping him, forcing him to throw back to Hart, not giving up the pocket pass. That's actually one thing that has been pretty obvious lately too. Like, Brunson and Hart have a good pick and roll chemistry in terms of like, if teams are kind of trying to trap Brunson, finding that pocket pass to him on the roll. But teams seem to be really, really kind of focused on that now, denying that now. And then if Hart has to pop, who fucking cares, right? So that didn't achieve anything. Again, you're allowed to use non-shooters to screen off the ball. You are allowed to use non-shooters to screen off the ball. You are allowed to use non-shooters to screen off the ball. Somebody please tell Tibbs. I think Luka up until OT was having a rough time. OG did a great job. I mean, even in OT, the 2 shots he hit were like, they were tough shots. I don't really know what else to say. He's a great player. It's like Jalen Brunson. Like, we watch some of the shots he'd make, and we're like, wow, how did he do that? Like, I mean, Cat played good defense on him both times. And I thought Cat today, when he got switched onto the perimeter, which they did a lot more than normal, thought he was good. I thought he held up pretty fucking well in those moments. It is telling. Like, maybe do that more. Ashmaster, the continual lack of optimization of the talent of this team against the top teams in the league has to be a red flag for the Rams. I agree. Not much more I can say about that. Ex Machina Man. Hardest role player who can't shoot, and he plays 40 minutes a night. What the fuck? I don't blame Josh Hart for this stuff. Like, that's who he is. He's a great role player. He's a great sixth man. They're asking to be a fifth starter. And they're not being versatile. Like, they're not, like, I don't even care that he starts. I think he can start. He can start. He doesn't need to play 40 fucking minutes a night just because he's the starter and because Tibbs loves him. Like, you have to be able to treat him like what he is, which is a really nice rotation player, a strong rotation player, a guy who can definitely start, but can also definitely come off the bench. You don't need to start him every night. And forget starting him every night. You don't need to play him 40 fucking minutes every night. You're allowed to, like, okay, other guys have it going right now. I'm going to roll with that for a little bit. Like, I did not understand Shamet coming in the game as soon as he did in the first half. I thought that was fucking crazy. He was playing well, and he's played well pretty much every time he's gotten a chance lately. Like, again, this is not just about Chart. It's for all these guys. Like, if Mikal Bridges is not doing what you want him to do, or this is how you're going to use him, then there's really not that much of a difference at this point between him and Deuce McBride. Because if you have no intention of using anything he can really do, or what he's shown in the past that he can do offensively, and incorporate that into your offense, then okay, then Deuce McBride is just as fine. He's just as able to space the floor and stay out of the way, and have defenders honor his shooting ability. Like, it's all just very, very stupid to me. Jordan Budd is also on tips for the fourth quarter in OT because without Jalen Brunson, we would have been royally screwed. And Gabe Vincent decided to be a flamethrower against us. Yeah, I hate Gabe Vincent. I thought that moving screen he had on Deuce, like, I don't want to say, I don't know if he's a dirty player, but that looked pretty reckless to me. I'll just say that much. Salmon Llama, great name. Josh Hart should not start. Again, the starting, not starting thing, I don't care. You need to have quicker release with these guys. You need to mix and match your lineups more throughout a fucking game. You're allowed to not just have a set rotation pattern, and you're allowed to not, like, dude, it's LeBron James, okay? I'm sorry. Josh, you can love Josh Hart and believe in him. Josh Hart is not some, like, otherworldly defender who you have to match his minutes up with LeBron James. Like, honestly. Like, you think Josh Hart was affecting anything LeBron did tonight? Really? 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 Like, come on, man. Mix and match your fucking pieces more. Like, I think Shamet has played well enough that you are allowed to. He played 6 fucking minutes in an overtime game. You fucking kidding me? You're fucking kidding me if you think that's it. Couldn't have played him anymore. I don't know. Can't do that. Eshmaster, even go back to that win against Memphis, that play call was for Jalen to figure it out on his own, and because he was a god, he was able to get it to OG after getting triple teamed. I agree. I said it earlier in the pod. All this stuff is about all this endgame shit to me where look, it's great that Jalen Brunson might win fucking clutch player of the year. That's awesome. You know what would be nice? Not having to need him to be the clutch player of the year because we're constantly in these clutch situations because we do fucking stupid suboptimal shit for fucking 48 minutes a night. And then he has to bail us out. Like, that would be fucking great. That would be nice. But we live in a world where the starting lineup, which has been okay at best throughout the year, they play 85 fucking percent of their minutes together because we're not allowed to mix and match. We can't plug and play and switch things up. Nope. We're not allowed to do that. It's against the CBA. You're not allowed to do that if you're the New York Knicks. Kevin Pierre will always over-prioritize rebounding to appease Tibbs' fetish for diving the glass. It's like you never have a tactical edge with a security blanket of rebounding. You have an edge if your team is, if that is like the strength of your team, that's fine. Then you go with that, right? Cool. Knicks the last couple of years have been a great rebounding team, especially on the offensive end. So actually, like, prioritizing it in that sense makes sense. That makes sense. In those last couple of years, to prioritize rebound to that degree, it makes sense. But what is the strength of the strength of this fucking team is offense, man. Like, I'm sorry. You cannot look at this roster and tell me that coming into the season, to me, the ceiling of your team is entirely tied, as it's constructed this year, with your offense. And all you're trying to do defensively is just get to like about average. Get to about average, slightly above, and that is probably good enough to, make a second round and be competitive if well coached against a team like Boston or Cleveland, assuming, I know there are people that think they're paper tigers or whatever, but I don't. Like, you can be competitive in a series if that's your formula. But when you're not optimizing your offense because you think that playing these three wings together is the best chance you have defensively, despite the evidence suggesting the opposite. And then at the same time, you're not helping your best player out with making his life easier offensively because one of these wings that you have doesn't get guarded at all like a shooter. So you're not I don't know how any fucking person could watch this team, look at the numbers, analyze it, and tell me that Tibbs is maximizing, optimizing, whatever fucking word you prefer, what he has. Because he's just not. There's no argument for it. And anybody that would make that argument, I don't know, probably loves Doge. AB, why did we even trade for Cat? We treat him like a role player on offense and run literally nothing for him. His defense is actually good tonight. I couldn't tell you. I thought he played really well tonight. And especially given what he's been through. Obviously in his personal life the last few days here. I thought he gave him everything you could have possibly imagined on defense. And I thought he completed really hard. Is he perfect? No. Did he make some stupid decisions offensively? Sure. But to your point, they don't run anything for him. And it's super fucking frustrating. And the only time they run shit for him is when he's in with the bench. Otherwise, it's just Jalen Brunson Cook. And I'm sorry, I don't buy this. To me is not Jalen Brunson hijacking the offense. This is what Tibbs wants. This is what he's chosen to do with this team, with this roster. That's what he thinks is the best thing. So, whatever. Andre Dreyer, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for staying up with us to vent with you. Get a coffee for yourself tomorrow morning before work. I have a coffee every morning before work. I appreciate you guys. I try to get through as much of these as I can. I know you guys stay up with me, so it's the least I can do. Ashmaster says either nobody in the coaching staff is probably telling the players what they need to work on, or the players tune them out. It's shit regardless. I don't think they're being coached very well anyway. My belief is, this has been my theory for a while, so I'll just say it again. We have heard Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart say multiple times that they don't really practice. we've heard like when they had Tibbs on the pod, they talked about it. They don't really do a lot of on-court work, which is kind of how he buys them rest so that they can play more minutes, assuming is kind of how I read that. So that these high minute totals aren't maybe as costly as people think because they're not really practicing ever. But I think that has consequences. It has consequences. Like, what have they developed offensively? What new things do you see happening offensively? I don't see anything. I actually think they've regressed because teams have adjusted to their original kind of like the original concept of the team, the original format that was presented to the NBA. Then teams started switching more, playing off Josh Hart. And have the Knicks done anything to counter that? I don't see it. I'm not the number one X's and O's guys. I'm not one of the number one X's and O's guys, but I don't see it. And tonight, like, again, I will give Tibbs credit for this. That was one of the first times we played a real contender, and I saw real variety in how we were covering them in pick and rolls and various things. So credit to him for that, but you don't see that creativity offensively at all. Ever. Not even ever. Like, you see it sometimes early in the first half. First half, when the bench comes in, they run some more creative things at times. But, as the game progresses, it always boils down to the same stuff. It's just Brunson and more Brunson and then a little bit more Brunson and a dash of Brunson there and a dash of Brunson there. It's nonsense, the load that he's carrying. And again, I don't think people that if you don't watch the Knicks consistently, I think it's really hard to appreciate how difficult it is for him. Like, he is not getting high quality shots. He is not getting easy shots. He is just making it happen because he's that fucking good. Nora, I don't even think Tibbs is out coach. He's just stubborn. To go back to what you said in past weeks, he just trusts his system and players so much. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's what being out coached is, right? Like, he doesn't. I mean, I guess I get what you're saying. I don't think JJ did not coach some masterful. He didn't coach rings around him or anything like that. He did a lot of pretty basic stuff. The fact that Tibbs can't challenge him and he can't get above this level offensively, to me, is pretty wild. And honestly, like, kind of lays bare some of it. It almost takes away from some of the great offensive stuff we saw earlier in the year. We were like, oh, so that was just teams not being ready for you guys yet. And your first go around the league, right? Oh shit, this is crazy. I can't believe the Knicks are moving and cutting like this. I've never seen them do this before. And then teams start, oh, okay, well, let's play off Josh Hart. Let's switch more. And then you realize it's not really that different. They were just playing off of how teams were defending them beautifully. And then once teams started again switching more, and then and more so treating Josh Hart like a total non-shooter, that changed. Jason Arval, you have to keep him involved if you want him to actually make shots. I'm assuming this is about Mikal. I agree. That's where I'm at. So I have no desire to talk about him because I get why people are frustrated and call him soft and he disappears and all that shit. I just don't agree. And I agree that they need more from him and that he has disappeared. I just don't think that's entirely on him. Should he be more assertive? Sure, but I think your coach needs to do a better job of getting him involved as well. Tips off Mikal golf and Christmas. It's like, no, buddy, you can't do that anymore. That's what I'm saying. They've actually used him less since then. It's bizarre. Kid Kuro, I can't keep doing this tips thing, man. I agree. Andre Dyer, I think coaching change will help. I'm with you. Tay 212, Cats off Mikal off this team, not better. It's different. Fine. Ashmaster, Mitch played 13 minutes, so you're telling me he couldn't play 3 or 4 more minutes at the end of the fourth, the Cat at the 4. I don't know. He's played more. I think he played 15, right? A couple of the other games. So would have liked to see him play more. I mean, I actually thought they missed. I thought Tibbs missed an opportunity. There's a moment in the third quarter. Vanderbilt came in pretty early. I remember correctly. I was in our Discord in our game chat. I was saying this like I would have put a Mitch right then. I would have put a Mitch right then because they that's the perfect matchup for them against this Lakers team. They're not 5 out there, so you can play big. And they cooked them in those minutes in the first half. It would have been the perfect time to do it. Which actually makes me wonder, like, did he get lucky when he went double big there? Or did he target that for those minutes? Given that it's Tibbs, I would assume that it's more he got fortunate. He doesn't usually try to impose his advantages on opponents as much as reacting to what they're doing. But maybe, either way, it was perfectly timed. So I thought that would have been a perfect time to go to the second half, too. Jordan Bub, 2 threes in around 40-plus minutes and being ignored all the time. The primary, unless he is in the primary action where he has the ball in his hands. I am talking about Josh Hart, by the way. Hey, again, to me, that's a Tibbs criticism, not a Josh Hart criticism. I still can call us whoever he wants, but thinking time is up. It's hard for me to push back on that at this point. AB, hopefully Brunson is good, but if he needs to miss some time, really curious to see what the fuck we're going to do on offense. My hot take is their offense will probably be fine. I think Campaign plays well with starters. I think he looks to shoot less when he plays with the starters. There's more spacing as well, obviously. Or not more spacing, but I think I don't know, I can't really phrase it properly, but I think he works fine. I would expect them to probably be okay for at least a couple of games. But yeah, over the long haul, yeah, you're going to miss Jalen Brunson. It's not rocket science. Jason Arval, maybe Tim's going to have to finally coach on Brunson. Might have to sit a few games. What a time to be alive, huh? Tim's on Jalen Brunson. He's being examined. I haven't spoken with him. He was back with the medical people. I'll get updated later when I get back. Chris Haynes, there's optimism. New York Knicks star Jalen Brunson only sustained a sprained ankle. It looked like a sprain to me. I didn't think it looked like much more. It might be. We don't know the grade of sprain, but that was what it looked like to me. Obviously, also since Chris Haynes got it, he must have gotten it directly from Jalen Brunson. Yeah. Tay 2-2. I don't blame Tibbs if Cat can't post up Reeves. That shit on the player was a Wolves problem too. Yeah, look, I'm just going to say this because I feel like you only come in here to say negative shit constantly. Like, I don't know. So I'm just going to say this. If you want Cat to post up, that's fine. What I would suggest is if you're going to have him post up, you really need to not have Josh Hart on the floor. If that's going to be your course of action with him. Because every time Josh Hart was on the floor and he posted up, the Lakers defended Josh Hart with the big and they sent help over to Cat. The big went over. And can Cat do better? Sure. But what are you doing to help him? How is that helpful for Cat? How is it helpful to maximize the value of posting him up there? It isn't. That's the answer. It's not. There's actually no argument for it. But that's what we do. It's a big part of what we do here. HP Greg, I wasn't criticizing McCall. My comment was about Tibbs going to do something with them. I agree. David Smith, Knicks not using Cat right. Okay. David Smith, Brunson, ISO ball hog. All right, man. That's your takeaway. It's how we're playing. I don't think that's on him. And I don't really know what you're expecting him to do if the play call is literally run screen and rolls with the big or with Josh Hart and nothing else is happening. This is literally nothing else is happening on these plays. Go watch. Forget the main action. If you just watch what else is happening on the plays, nothing is happening. It's just 3 guys standing around watching Jalen Brunson do his thing. And then once he gets going, then they have to make reads off of how the defense reacts to Jalen Brunson. That's the offense. That's what it is. And I feel confident saying that you don't need to just play Brunson this way because we've seen him not play this way. When we had Julius Randle, right, he was happy to play off of Randle. We've seen him be happy to play off of Cat. At the start of this year when we were, top 2, 3 in assists per game and assist rate. But this is what we reverted to. This is almost like I would like to think of it as this is the consequence of how teams are defending us, but it almost feels like as we go on, this has actually been the adjustment. Like the adjustment is to just do this. And I agree. I agree with this. They're not going to win anything with Brunson plays way and not getting Cat the ball enough. I'm not disagreeing with that. I just wouldn't call Brunson the cause of it. Tibbs, a lot of tough plays. We couldn't get to a loose ball. Every loss, it's just this is all. It's all whatever it is. Couldn't get to loose balls. Weren't tough enough. Stepped slow. It's never anything else. There's never anything else to it. This roster's not being used properly, and that is the reason why the Knicks aren't performing this year. That's the fault of the coach and the captain. I'm not putting it on Brunson, man. This makes no sense to me. I'm happy to put it on Tibbs. Yeah, Kolek flying out west. Maybe. Yeah, Tibbs definitely got outcoached by JJ. I don't even think JJ did anything that well tonight, to be honest with you. I didn't think what he was doing was pretty spectacular. Retro of Leon Rose to attach to Tibbs to ever fire him. He should go too. Package deal, them motherfuckers. If Leon Rose can't bring himself to make the right coaching decision, I do blame Josh Hart for space getting and brain farting, like not getting up a shot to win. He wasn't getting a good shot up there. So, like, sure, he should get a shot up, but why is he on the floor there? That's not his fault. I'm sorry. He shouldn't be on the fucking floor there. That's just what, that's it. And he didn't space get on defense tonight. This was not a space cadet Josh Hart defensive game. So, in general, yes, I agree, but not ever. And yeah, if Leon Rose is so attached to Tibbs that he cannot move on from him, then yeah, he should go. Like, part of the job is moving on from pieces, players, coaches, whatever, executives that are not doing a good enough job. So if him, as the lead executive of the team, look, again, maybe in the last 20 fucking games of the year and playoffs, we're going to see all this crazy, awesome offense tip stuff. But if that's not the case, if things continue as they're trending, then yeah, I feel very strongly that Tibbs should be moved on. Champ plays good in limited minutes for sure. I agree. I don't know why he's not playing more. Rick James, his team needs another creator. Everyone in the starting lineup needs shots creator for them. Sure, I also think that you can probably use guys in the starting lineup in a much better way than having them stand around and watch Jalen Brunson. Like, even the actions they run where they, they'll have OG come around and they have Mikal come around. These are all so telegraphed. They're so telegraphed. These are things we've seen them do since the start of the year. Are there any wrinkles being added? Are you throwing different looks at teams? Is this stuff that hasn't been on tape yet? Doesn't feel like it. Rick James Cat is bad at getting position down low. That is certainly part of the issue. Habino, bench all starters whenever we played Lakers, someone always gets hurt on some freak shit. That's true. OG had a weird one too. Lost a young progressive coach, Johnny Bryan, and gave Tibbs another dinosaur in mode cheeks. This front office letting Tibbs run this organization. They should be putting guardrails on him. I don't know how you come away thinking Tibbs is running the organization. I would say this: if they wanted to move on from Tibbs and hire Johnny Bryan, they could probably pretty easily do that. I would imagine he'd be pretty cool taking this job if it was offered to him. I think a lot of coaches would love taking this job if it was offered to them. A lot of young, progressive coaches sitting around NBA benches elsewhere. Like that, that's up to them to do. But, do I think that they're letting Tibbs run the organization? No. I've never understood that argument. It just doesn't really make sense. I think there are times they've let him get away with too much, and I would like for them to maybe make some more pointed things. But I also think that, look, he coached a great year last year, as far as I'm concerned. And if I can understand, I can almost see it being reasonable to be like, we built this roster, we did what we did. Let's see how he uses the pieces. Let's not really get involved. This team's going to be good either way. Let's just see what he does, and then we can judge at the end of the year. And if I'm them, and I'm sitting there 62 games in, I'm not impressed with what he's doing. I'm not impressed at all. Now, again, there's 20 games and playoffs to maybe that changes, but if it doesn't change, like, and then they keep him, like, first of all, they should move on from him, as far as I'm concerned. If nothing changes from between now and the end of the season, they should move on from him. And if they don't move on from him, then at the bare minimum, they need to completely overhaul the coaching staff around him. Like, completely. All these fucking old geezers got to go. Get him out of here. You know, Dice can stay. Dice is good with me. Everybody else can bounce. Inkslinger. As a Knicks fan growing up who dumped up 4 years ago because of Showtime Lakers and terrible moves by the organization, including Riley and Bernard King, 52 years without a chip and pig of an owner. I don't know what this. I'm not. Okay, great. Thanks for this post game. You didn't really have to, and it would have been totally understandable if you didn't want to do that. Hey, no problem, Jordan Bub. Thank you. Sorry, maybe I mixed you up with somebody. I didn't mean to single you out, Tay212. I'm just frustrated. That's for everybody is. MLK Bridges is the problem. Sure. Rick James running screen roll with Hart is wild. Retro Dan Hurley will save us. Has he been good this year? Hasn't he been weird? I'm not even like he's obviously a great coach. It's just I was wondering if Hurley's having a good year. I don't follow college basketball at all, by the way. David Smith, Knicks are wasting Cat's talent. It's not like coaching the captain. I don't understand what you expect Brunson to do here. Like, this is the offense. He's running the offense as it's supposed to be run, apparently, where Josh Hart sets screens for him and Cat spaces the floor. So really not much else he's going to do. Josh Hart had a wide open floater and should know the clock. It just speaks to the problem with him being too scared to pull. I agree, Dude should have been on there from Retro. I don't like sure, again, he can take the fucking shot. Like he should get a shot off. I'm not denying that. Why is he in that position? And I don't think this is a guy who's made big shots for the Knicks. He took a big three in this game. He attempted multiple shots late in the game. I don't think it was about him being scared at the moment. I just don't think he could not get a quality shot off there. And then he didn't adjust for how much time was left on the clock. And he shouldn't have been in that position. That's the entire point. Like, I'm not interested in talking about Josh Hart fucked up the last possession when he shouldn't have been in the fucking position. Like this is my point. I'm so done talking about this guy didn't do this thing and that guy. Look, you have better options in these moments, and it never happens. It never happens. We had the same fucking 5 guys out there at the end of this game, and everybody knew that was going to be the case. As soon as Deuce missed, like he didn't get a shot going in, you knew exactly who was coaching this game, closing this game. You knew it. You knew it. That's it. The only way Deuce ever gets to close games is if he's on fire or something. And even then, sometimes it doesn't happen. Against Memphis, he hits a fucking crazy shot to tie the game up, and then he immediately gets pulled. What the hell was he in that game? Like 17 points on 10 shots or something? Like, it doesn't matter to him. It does not matter to the coach. He's going to close with these 5 guys. And Josh Hart's always going to close. Let's just get that out of the way. Josh Hart is always going to close for Tom Thibodeau at this point. That's reality. And if that's his stance, like, that's such a ridiculous and fucking dumb stance. You could honestly just fire him for that alone. Like, bro, he's valuing Josh Hart. And, like, I love Josh Hart. He's great. He's been a great acquisition for the Knicks, great player for the Knicks. I don't think he deserves to be singled out because it's not just him who needs to be treated less than a sacred cow. Okay, there are games where Mikal Bridges obviously can be benched, but you know what? That's happened. We've seen that happen. We just don't ever see Hart getting benched on the stretch of a game where he plays bad. In what fucking world did he need to come back into that Warriors game the other night? And in what world are you a coach sitting on the sideline and you're like, you know what we could really use in this last play is a guy that they don't defend at all from 3-point line. Okay. Like, I don't know. Hey, it's mind-boggling stuff. James says he's not going to listen to any offensive coach they hire for him. I tend to agree with you. But 2 things. Like, this is the way I look at it, right? I would fire Tibbs after the end of the season. Again, assuming nothing changes. I think he's taking them as far as he can go. Shake his hand. Thank you for your service. Whatever. You want to reassign him to the front office or something? I don't give a shit. That's fine. He gets his money either way. If you're going to keep him, you overhaul the coaching staff and you hire an assistant, a top assistant, whatever you want to call it, who is effectively the backup option if things do not improve early in the season and you need to move on. That's what it was. I agree. With this, Josh Hart was fine tonight. OG should have been next man for the pass. McCall's a no-show. That's why I benched tonight. And honestly, that's just not the Warriors game. Either way, like, if you're going to, whatever, I think to your point, if you're going to have Josh Hart on the floor, he should be in the corner. And if you're going to, but then if he's not in the corner, then you just shouldn't be on the floor. So don't disagree with you that I thought Josh was good tonight, flat out. I thought he was good tonight. Like, he played hard. He was not doing space cadet-y stupid defensive shit constantly. He actually, like, he found his juice again, rebounding. Thought he had some good drive to the rim, whatever. Like, again, not a perfect game. He had some crazy moments, but, like, it was a good game. He played a good game. It's not his fault in that situation. Retro, we're saying the same things about Tibbs. Hart should not be out there. But if he is, and an advantage is created for him to win the game he deserves, blame for low IQ. Like, what are we doing? I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I'm so uninterested in talking about Josh Hart when he shouldn't be in that position. That's it. Like, I mean, why the fuck is Cat not in there? Why would you not have your best three-point shooter one pass away from the guy? They're going to send help from probably one pass away, right? Or if they're not, they're going to leave somebody that's multiple passes away. Cat's skilled enough to make that pass. Like, if you're going to leave somebody in the corner open, because it's going to take two passes to get there, it's all ridiculous to me. It's all ridiculous to me. Talkster, our shot quality has to be some of the worst in the league. It has to be. I'm sure it is. I haven't looked up shot quality in stats in a while. Last comment here, Rick James. Tibbs' post-game interviews are the worst, especially with the new young Knicks media asking soft questions. I miss guys like Mark Berman and Isola. I'm not sure I miss them, but and I'm not sure Frank Isola would be pushing too hard on Tom Thibodeau given his comments about him. Yeah, it's whatever. I'm just gonna read this and then I'm gonna log out because I think this is the most batshit insane comment ever. Another fourth quarter meltdown by Knicks. Wonder how this offense will look with an unselfish point guard like Trae Young running the offense. Sure, man. Yeah. Trae Young, unselfish guy. Brunson, total fucking just total asshole who only cares about himself. If that's how you read it, that's how you read it. All right. Thank you to everybody for the comments. If I got annoyed at them or annoyed at you, I apologize. It's an annoying loss. Thank you for the super chat that we got. And thank you to our sponsor, Bet Online. The Knicks play tomorrow night. I don't think I'm going to do the post game for that. We'll see what the situation is with Brunson. Hopefully get an update tomorrow. All right. That is our show for today. Thanks again to everybody for the comments. And I will see you whenever I see you. Peace.